concentration. Smoking is hereby prohibited for the duration of the flights. Thanks for choosing King FM. Enjoy your flights. World in Review begins now. Yeah, another beautiful afternoon once again. The 28th day in the month of January 2022. Yeah, this is King 103.9 FM, the voice of Ajibola Samuel. And of course, I am welcoming you to another exciting edition of Word on Review on this dial, King 103.9 FM. Once again, my name is Ajibola Samuel. Yeah, good afternoon once again. Jamaat Mubarak to all Muslim faithfuls out there. And of course, Haku Jimo Loyin to those who are, of course, not Muslim faithfuls. Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition of Word on Review on this dial. King 103.9 FM, of course, where we are set to bring you the news that made the headlines throughout the course of this week in the international scene. Yeah, we talk all the news that happened outside of the shores of this country, Nigeria. We break the news down for you, give you an analytical and a periscopical perspective of the news so as to have a perfect understanding of what's going on around the world. Yeah, I don't usually do this alone, actually. Yeah, I have some couple of colleagues that join me every Friday on this show and we'll break things down together. But unfortunately, for the past couple of weeks now, I've been, riding solo on the show. And today is not an exception. I will also be riding solo. Hopefully, my goons, my learned colleagues will join me next week on the show. Yeah, once again, my name is Ajibola Samuel. This is King 103.9 FM. And of course, welcome on board Word on Review on this dial. Okay, without further ado, let's delve into the various news and stories that I've been able to package for you throughout the course of this week. And just like we do every Fridays on the show, we start from the African continent before we go to other parts of the world, Asia, Europe, of course, the North American continent, the South American continent. I'll try to bring you the news that also, made the rounds from there throughout the course of this week. So, moving forward quickly, without further ado, let's just take this first story from the African continent. Okay, once again in Africa, less than 5 months after soldiers in fatigues actually appeared on national TV in Guinea to announce that they had removed President Alpha Conde from office, something like that spectacle was actually repeated in a particular African country earlier this week, on Monday precisely, in Burkina Faso, as the military proclaimed the overthrow of the head of state and the president of Burkina Faso. His name is Christian Roch Kabore. Well, if you try to go back in time, you wouldn't forget that something like that has happened in Mali. It even happened twice in Mali, where the army officers actually deposed President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta in August 2020, and of course another happened, where it was kicked out. The military leader kicked out the transitional president that they've appointed for themselves. Abubakar Keïta Ibrahim himself, died some couple of weeks ago. May so rest in perfect peace. Okay, should I go back in time once again to try as much as possible to build up to what's been happening, the series of coup that has been happening here in Africa? Yeah, back in 2020, or was it in 2021, there was a failed coup attempt in the Central African Republic. There was also another country who had, a failed coup attempt. And of course, in Sudan, if you haven't forgotten, Abdallah Abdok was actually deposed before being brought back in to, chair over the transitional government. But let's stop, the building up, and of course, talk about the past coups that have happened in Africa. And let's talk about this one that actually happened in Burkina Faso. Okay, soldiers in Burkina Faso on Monday announced on state television that they have seized power in the West African country following a mutiny over the civilian president's failure to contain an Islamist insurgency. Yeah, a junior officer actually announced the suspension of the constitution, the dissolution of government and parliament, and the closure of the country's borders from midnight Monday, reading from a statement signed by Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba. Okay, quoting him right now, he said the new Patriotic Movement for Preservation and Restoration (MPSR) would re-establish constitutional order within a reasonable time, adding that a nationwide nightly curfew would be enforced. Okay, let's try to paint the picture. A little drama actually happened before this announcement was made on live television, and the military in in Burkina Faso actually came out to announce that they have deposed the president. They have, of course, suspended the parliament and the constitution, and of course, they are imposing a nighttime curfew. Okay, let's try to paint the picture. Yeah, on the 23rd of January 2022, which was on Monday this week, gunfire actually erupted in front of the presidential residence in the Burkinabe capital, in Ouagadougou. Yeah, several military barracks across the city and, of course, across the country. Soldiers were reported to have seized control of the military base in the capital. However, the government kept denying that there was an ongoing coup in the country. Yeah, several hours later, it was an event that I monitored personally. President Roch Marc Christian Kabore was reported to have been detained by the soldiers at the military camp in the capital. And of course, the government also kept insisting that nothing is happening, and of course, there is no coup happening. In fact, the president came to Twitter to tweet. And his tweet read, "Our nation is going through a difficult time. At this precise moment, we must safeguard our democratic achievements. I invite those who have taken up arms to lay them down in the higher interest of the nation. It is through dialogue and listening that we must resolve our contradictions." Roch Marc Christian Kabore. This was what he tweeted amidst the crisis that was going on in that country, and when soldiers had actually seized quite a lot of military camps in the country, and he had been detained. So on the 23rd of January, that was on Sunday, sorry. So on the 24th of January, the military announced on television that Kabore had been deposed from his position as president. After the announcement, the military declared that the parliament, the government, and the constitution had been dissolved, and the coup d'etat was actually led by an unknown military officer. His name, Lieutenant Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba. So while all this was happening, the citizens of the country actually saw quite a lot of cars belonging to the presidency and some members of the presidency being riddled with bullets, and the president kept telling them nothing is wrong, everything is fine. Yeah, we have to keep things calm, and of course the people that have taken up arms should come, and of course, let's negotiate. But the soldiers then, the country's citizen had it in the back of their mind that, probably the president has been detained and a coup d'etat has happened. Well, at the end of the day, on the 24th of January 2022, the military actually announced that they had, they deposed the president, they have detained him in a military camp, and of course, they are deposing him. Okay, a quick trip to Burkina Faso right now, and we get to paint a picture of what happened. Okay, first of all, we get to listen to the speech of the announcement of the coup that happened in Burkina Faso. Then we go on to listen to the first speech of the leader of the coup. That speech, by the way, was made some couple of hours ago after the coup had actually happened.
Une décision prise dans le seul but.
We've made this decision solely to put our country back on the right track and to bring our forces together to fight for the territorial integrity of our country, the recovery of our country, and the sovereignty of our country.
Et sa souveraineté. Le MPSR.
The MPSR also reassures the partners and friends of Burkina Faso and undertakes to propose within a reasonable time frame after consultation with the nation's active forces a timetable for a return to a constitutional order accepted by all.
Okay, you had the voice of the younger military man actually, reading out the coup speech signed by the Lieutenant Paul Damiba, who was head of, the mutiny soldiers actually. Yeah, that was the report and everything that happened. Quite a lot of reactions has actually trailed this. On the 24th of January, several residents in Burkina Faso in the capital were seen showing their support to the coup, and of course there were reports that some citizens are took to the streets actually, burning tires to show solidarity with the soldiers. Some youths were also reported to have stormed the RTB headquarters to actually show support for the military junta. Yeah, on the 25th of January, that was the second day, Tuesday, a large crowd gathered in the capital Ouagadougou's National Square and celebrated the coup, playing music, singing, blowing horns, and of course dancing. Yeah, aside that, quite a lot of reactions came, especially from international bodies. From Austria, the Federal Ministry for European and International Affairs said they were greatly concerned about the developments in Burkina Faso, and the ministry actually condemned the coup and called for every actor to choose part of dialogue. Also in Belgium, they had quite a lot of things to say, saying, a constitutional change by violence is unacceptable. Also in Bulgaria, in Canada, in China, in Denmark, in France, and in Luxembourg. Also even from Nigeria here, quite a lot of reaction trailed that particular announcement, saying, coup is absolutely unacceptable. But the citizens in the country are actually rejoicing, saying, even ECOWAS reacted that probably they are going to be placing, some couple of sanctions on the military leaders and of course on Burkina Faso. But the people in the country are rejoicing, saying that no, we like it this way, and leave us alone to actually celebrate this victory for us, the citizens.
They are with the Western countries, which means that we do not agree with ECOWAS. All the people of Burkina Faso do not agree with ECOWAS.
Yeah, you heard the voice of one of the protesters there saying, of course, they do not agree with the decision of ECOWAS to decide to place sanction. Leave us alone, let us celebrate, and let us run our affairs. That is what is coming from the celebrating citizens in Burkina Faso. Okay, like I said, the new leader of Burkina Faso has promised a return to normal constitutional order when the conditions are right. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Damiba led the military coup that actually military mutiny that ousted President Roch Kabore on Monday. He blamed the president for failing to contain violence by Islamist militants. He made his first national speech since taking power on the eve of an emergency summit of West African leaders called in response to the coup. Burkina Faso is the third West African country to actually witness a military takeover in the past year. So one of the major reason why this coup was actually staged was the excuse given by Colonel Henry, saying that the government has not taken the fight against Islamist insurgency in the country serious. They have not equipped the soldiers enough, and of course they are endangering the lives of the military and of course the citizens as large. That was why they decided to oust the leader and take over power. So let's take a quick trip once again to Burkina Faso and listen to the first speech after the coup has actually aired in Burkina Faso. Okay, the voice you'll be listening right now is the voice of the coup leader, once again Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Damiba.
I warn all those who will be guided only by their selfish interests that I will be uncompromising in the face of acts of betrayal of the aspirations of our people. The foundations of our nation will be safeguarded, and the cases committed on the judicial level will be conducted by authorities having received competence for this purpose. When the conditions are met according to the deadlines that our people will have sovereignly defined, I pledge to return to a normal constitutional life.
Okay, there's an emergency meeting right now. The ECOWAS Commission and of course some leaders across the African continent are holding a meeting right now to decide the next line of action in response to the coup that happened in Burkina Faso. So we'll monitor proceedings from here, King 103.9 FM, and of course we would intimate you with all the happenings from Burkina Faso. You can trust us to always do that. Yeah, this program is being streamed live right now on the Facebook page of King 103.9 FM. Yeah, you can get to be a part of the family, of course. Put a face to the voice that you're hearing on the station right now, and of course, get to watch different programs that I've aired on the show. Get notifications whenever we go live and programs are being aired on this station. So if you want to be part of the family, just go to Facebook right now, facebook.com/King FM 1039 Ibadan. Write it together as one word, no space. So that is the official Facebook fan page of King FM. Like the page, and of course you become part of the family. And if you are not using the web browser, of course if you are using a Facebook app, you can just search for King FM 1039 Ibadan. Once again, write it together as one word, no space, and you become part of the family. You can get to watch me do this live in the studios of King 103.9 FM. So without further ado, let's delve straight. Let's continue with the stories that we've been reading out to you. Okay, earlier this week, there's a cyclone and of course a very dangerous storm that has been ravaging different countries in the African continent. It has been given a name already. It is called Cyclone Ana, ANA. And as at the last count, at least 36 people have been confirmed dead in Madagascar and in Mozambique. Yeah, Tropical Storm Ana has killed 34 people in Malawi, in Madagascar, and 2 in Mozambique, and left most of Malawi without power in recent days. Yeah, according to reports released earlier this week by authorities in those three different countries. The storm, which formed in east of the large island of Madagascar, triggered heavy rains that caused floodings and landslide in the capital, Antananarivo. According to reports by the Disaster Management Agency on Tuesday, 34 people have died and nearly 65,000 people have been left homeless since the end of last week. Okay, after crossing the Indian Ocean, Ana's heavy rain, that's talking about Storm Ana's heavy rains, hit the northern and central Mozambique. 2 people were killed and 49 injured in the Zambezia province, according to the Mozambican National Risk Management Institute. Yeah, the Mozambican government and United Nations Agency estimate that about 500,000 people will be affected by the storm Ana in the provinces of Nampula, Zambezia, and of course, Sofala. In neighboring Malawi, the storm plunged most of the country into darkness on Monday. Flash flood forced the power companies to shut down their generator, the water level being too high to continue operating and being too risky, explained Moses Gwaza, the spokesman for the electricity generation company. And aside that, there was also a storm earlier this week in Uganda, and according to reports, about 9 people have died as a result of that storm that happened in Uganda. The death toll from the heavy flooding following torrential rains in the southwestern Uganda district of Kisoro has risen to 9, an humanitarian relief agency said on Tuesday. Actually, Uganda Red Cross Society said in an update that 5 bodies from Buzei village and 4 of Kabale and Lukeri have been reported. 8 bodies have been retrieved so far. The 9th is a child that was actually caught up by the mudslide while running, so no one knows where exactly to dig, said the Uganda Red Cross Society. Yeah, so Storm Anna in the southern parts of the continent, Mozambique, Madagascar, and of course Malawi, according to reports. In fact, as at the last count, about 45 people have been reported to have died as a result of Mozambique, the Storm Anna that is ravaging the southern part of the country. And of course, it has been reported to have left about 500,000 people homeless. And of course, in Uganda, another storm also wreaking havoc back then in Uganda, leaving about 9 people dead. Okay, let's try as much as possible to paint a picture of what is happening across those different countries, and of course we get to listen to the havoc that Storm Anna is wreaking.
Flowing down a whole new channel, and this is what it looks like. You can see the remains of the canal on the right. So just some new feedback. This is where Condurail was building the canal, and this was the intake, and it's totally washed away.
Yeah, I would have loved for you to see the video, unfortunately, but I hope that audio paints the picture enough. You would have seen pictures or videos of houses and story buildings actually falling, roads being broken into 2, if I can put it like that, see poles falling, and quite a lot of natural disasters and unpalatable things happening across those countries. Okay, let's take another quick trip and get to listen to the voice of some of the victims of Storm Hannah.
We had to ask for help. We couldn't stay at home because it was flooded. A part of the house has collapsed.
Our house is flooded. It was flooded twice, but this time we had to leave because all the mattresses got wet and our baby fell ill. We didn't have a house, so we had to come here.
I have come here to get my generator repaired. Maybe when it is fixed, I'll be able to work and earn some money. I urge authorities to restore power as soon as possible.
Yeah, may God grant the families the fortitude to bear the loss of their loved ones. And of course, we hope the government actually deploy enough humanitarian services to actually help salvage those who have lost their means of livelihood, and of course help them to move on. Okay, moving forward quickly. I'm in Kenya right now, and this is a particular news that will sound funny to quite a lot of Nigerians listening to me right now. Okay, in Kenya, 3 Kenyan power executives have been charged, of course, have been arrested over national blackouts that rocked the country some couple of weeks, or should I say days ago. Yeah, 3 senior managers at state-controlled electricity distributor Kenya Power were on Wednesday charged with sabotage and negligence over a nationwide power outage earlier this month, court documents actually showed. Yeah, the case is the first time individuals in the East African nations have been charged over a power blackout, said Damstan Omari, a lawyer for the accused. Kenyan homes and businesses were plunged into darkness on the 11th of January after a high voltage transmission line connecting the capital Nairobi to a generation plant broke. Power was actually restored several hours after, let me put it that way. The firm that's talking about the electricity distribution company blamed the outage on the collapse of some towers supporting high voltage line, but the police opened an investigation saying some executives had neglected their duties, leading to the collapse of the tower. And prosecutors accused the three sabotage of and negligence for failing to maintain the towers which support the high voltage line, the charge sheet showed. And they were also accused of failing to take action after damage to the towers were reported to them by members of the public weeks before the blackouts. The three denied the charges, and the court freed them on a bond of 1 million shillings each and set the hearing of the case for the end of next month. Yeah, once again, so what happened was that on the 11th of January 2022, a whole lot of provinces and states and location in Kenya was actually thrown into nationwide blackout. So police have actually arrested 3 top officials in the Kenya electricity power company. They've charged them to court that they didn't, take care of their own services due to negligence of service and, of course, abandoning what they ought to have done. And like I said, it will sound funny to quite a lot of Nigerians because, arresting electricity officials because the country does not have light. Okay, a quick trip to Kenya right now. I'll get to listen to the voice of the proceedings in the court. You also get to listen to the voice of the lawyers of the 3 officials that were charged. And of course, you get to listen to the voice of the judge who actually granted them bail, saying they shouldn't sleep in the cell for 21 days, just for 8 days, so that the police can conclude their investigation. Okay, right now, a quick trip to Kenya, and we'll get to listen to how the proceedings in the court went.
Your Honor, these officers, due to sabotage, negligence, maybe commission of a terrorist act, decided to neglect, not go and look at what the members of the public have to say. And Your Honor, can you imagine, from December 9th, this republic, a power line that was serving the whole republic, did not have joints. Joints had been vandalized. And these 9 people did not think or did not want to go and check what was wrong.
Yeah, you heard the voice of one of, should I say, the witness there in the court actually testifying against those 9 officials that were actually charged, and that stands right now being cut down to 3. Okay, let's listen to the voice of the lawyers, that are actually defending the 3 charged in court.
Some will be charged, or all of them will not be charged, or a few will be charged, others will be left. So those were the fundamental issues that were raised, and the court has agreed with us. And we have done one tremendous action, that the ruling has been by consent given only the determination. The reasoning of why the court reduced the days from 21 to 8 will be given on Friday.
Okay, the voice of one of the lawyers there. Okay, let's also get to listen to one of those defendants actually coming out to say the fact that they didn't actually take care of what they are supposed to take care. From the accusation, you will see that they were accused of not taking care of power lines that have shown signs of falling, and they had to wait until the power lines actually fell and the whole country was thrown into blackouts and power cuts before they took action. But someone had come in their defense saying, the fallen power lines is actually not the fault.
Those who are behind this kind of acts.
I'm inclined to allow a detention, but not for 21 days, 8 days. Yes, 8 days. That should be sufficient for the IO or the investigating agency to conclude investigations.
Okay, you listened to the voice of the judge last day and coming out to say that it's not going to, of course, go on to the detain them for 21 days. Just, detain them from 8 days so that investigations will be concluded and they will be known whether they will be, it will be known whether they will be criminally charged for throwing the entire or some part of the country into blackouts. And of course, they would take disciplinary actions on them. So we look forward to, what the judge's ruling will be, and of course what the fates of these 3 officials would be. And of course I look forward to a day where Nigeria would also be able to arrest officials of electricity distribution companies, sue them to court over blackouts in our areas. So well, maybe one day the dream will come true.